Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Friday, March 3. I am Abigail Smythe. Among the stories in this evening's newscast, double murder on Malvern Avenue, Kingston, taxi driver shot and killed in Hanover, man arrested for illegal gun in St. Catherine being treated as person of interest in fatal Portmore Pines robbery. One of 5 people suffering from Ackee poisoning in Manchester dies. In business, IMF approves Jamaica's request to have access to 2 of its facilities with combined value of $1.7 billion. In the region, Barbados now has capacity to detect and receive early notice of impending tsunamis. Further overseas, disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdoch sentenced to life in prison. And in sports, Jamaica remains 4th in the world netball rankings.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. 2 men were killed and a woman shot and injured by gunmen on Malvern Avenue in Kingston Friday morning. The dead men have been identified as 26-year-old carpenter Malcolm Lowe and 22-year-old tailor Ronaldo Murray, both from Malvern Avenue. The injured woman is a 30-year-old member of the same community. Police say about 10:15 residents heard a barrage of gunfire, and when the shooting subsided, the 3 were seen with gunshot wounds. Lowe was shot in the abdomen and other parts of the body, while Murray was shot in the right side of his chest. All 3 were rushed to hospital where the men died and the woman was admitted for treatment. No motive has been established for the attack. A 36-year-old taxi driver was shot and killed in his car on the Sandy Bay Main Road in Hanover Thursday morning. The deceased man has been identified as Adrian Grizzle, otherwise known as Nishi, of a Montpelier address in the parish. Reports are that around 11:50, Grizzle parked his white Nissan motorcar on a section of the Sandy Bay Main Road in the direction of Lucy. Shortly after, another car drove up and hit the back of his car. Grizzle reportedly exited his vehicle and went to investigate the damage when the occupants of the other vehicle reportedly opened fire, hitting him. The Sandy Bay police are investigating. A man who was arrested for possession of an illegal gun in St. Catherine on Thursday is now being treated as a person of interest in the fatal Portmore Pines robbery. On Monday, a security guard was killed and 2 others injured by robbers in Portmore Pines. The robbers reportedly made off with about $10 million. According to preliminary reports from the police, the man was initially taken into custody after he was found with a Sig Sauer 9mm pistol. It had a magazine containing 9 rounds of ammunition. Reports are that a police team was on a targeted operation in the Hellshire Beach area when the suspect was seen at a section of the beach behaving in a manner that aroused the officers' suspicion. Upon seeing the police, the man reportedly ran but was subsequently accosted and the firearm and ammunition taken from him. He was arrested. The police say since his arrest and information they have received, he is now being treated as a person of interest in the Portmore Pines fatal incident. A person of interest is someone who may be a witness, may have information about the incident, or may have participated in the crime. His identity is being withheld pending further investigations. A man who the Manchester police identified as a suspect in the stabbing death of a man in Newport has been taken into custody following an operation in Knockpatrick Thursday night. A police report states that 22-year-old Ricardo Williams, a laborer of Newport in the parish, died following injuries he sustained after being stabbed at his home Thursday morning. Police report that shortly after 8 o'clock, the 2 men had an argument about a pair of shoes. The police say the argument turned into a fight during which a knife was used to stab Williams in the region of his chest. Williams was taken to hospital where he succumbed to his injury. The suspect reportedly fled the scene before being captured in the police operation. One of 5 people who turned up at health facilities in Manchester over the last 2 weeks suffering from Ackee poisoning has died. Senior medical officer at the Mandeville Regional Hospital, Dr. Everton McIntosh, says 3 of the reported cases were handled by the hospital after the patients presented at the same time. He was unable to say if the 3 were connected to each other. Dr. McIntosh says it was not unusual for the hospital to be dealing with multiple cases of Ackee poisoning. Following the reports of the poisonings, the Manchester Health Department issued a release urging the public to be cautious in the preparation and consumption of Ackee. Medical Officer of Health for Manchester, Dr. Nadine Williams, reminded the public that only fit and well-opened Ackee are to be used by householders, as Ackee should be allowed to open naturally and fully on the tree before it is picked and eaten or sold. Dr. Williams said Ackee that is not properly prepared can lead to a high level of the hypoglycin toxin, usually found in higher quantities in the unripe fruit and the seed and pink or red membrane inside fit fruit. Dr. Williams warned that the seed and pink or red membrane should be removed, the Ackee washed and then boiled by itself, after which the water must be discarded. Symptoms of Ackee poisoning include vomiting, stomach cramps, abdominal pain, dizziness, diarrhea, and sweating. Dr. Williams said if these symptoms are experienced after an Ackee meal, it is important to seek medical attention immediately and have a sweet drink on the way to the hospital, as blood sugar levels can fall to a critically low level, leading to death. An elderly man perished in a house fire in Haywood Hall, St. Mary, Friday morning. The charred remains of 65-year-old Excel Newland were found in the rubble of his one-bedroom board house about 5 a.m. It is understood that neighbors earlier saw fire coming from Newland's dwelling and raised an alarm. The Portmore Fire Department responded. However, the house was already engulfed in flames by the time firefighters arrived on the scene. During cooling down operations, the burnt body of Newland was found. It is suspected that the fire may have been caused by an electrical problem. The Portmore police are investigating. And fire destroyed a sawdust factory at the intersection of 6 Ricketts Avenue of Chisholm Avenue in Kingston Friday morning. The factory supplies entities such as Jamaica broilers. The owner, Rowan Wright, says the fire started sometime after 11 o'clock.
This morning I came in and I parked the car right around there. But I was in country yesterday getting out some material, so I feel tired. So I just go back now and go have a lie down and get some rest. So about an hour after that, I believe it's an hour. I don't really have the exact time. Somebody knocked rap on the place and said that's fire, fire, fire. And when I came out and looked and so on, spear fire right around the place. The whole place with the storage of the material, because we prepare a lot of material to supply to the Jamaican broiler company.
Mr. Wright notes that several heavy-duty equipment as well as his car have been completely damaged by the blaze.
Estimate damage, I believe, is over $20 million. Can be more, because of the machine there, well, I don't even see them without them and so on, and them good to burn up on different sand, and the goods and all them things there. Might be over $20 to $30 million.
The cause of the fire is not yet known.
Well, I was by my business place and a man come and say, fire overdose, and I just run, take up my phone and call the fire brigade. By the time I reach on because I go for assist them. By the time I reach around there, I couldn't do nothing. The size fire. All I said to a man, tell the man, just knock out the meter to avoid everybody get electrocuted. And there come a man come and just pull out the meter, knock it out, and put it on the wall. And there, we were there standing, waiting for the fire brigade for a good time. Maybe another 20-25 minutes before a fire brigade arrived.
So you think the fire brigade came earlier, stopped that?
Even the car would have been saved.
Minister of Labour and Social Security, Carl Samuda, has received the National Minimum Wage Report. The report was compiled by the National Minimum Wage Advisory Commission based on consultations and was submitted to the government for review. The National Minimum Wage Advisory Commission consists of representatives from the Ministry, the Jamaica Employers Federation representing employers, and the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions representing employing the workers. It is responsible for obtaining and recording information about wages and remuneration, conditions of work, and other factors affecting the circumstances of employment. Minister Samuda provided the update during the Standing Finance Committee's review of the 2023-2024 estimates of expenditure in the House of Representatives on Thursday, while noting that the national minimum wage was increased on April 1, 2022. The minimum wage was last increased by 28.5% on April 1, 2022 from $7,000 to $9,000 per 40-hour work week, or from $175 to $225 per hour, while the minimum wage for industrial security guards moved from $9,700 to $10,500 per 40-hour work week, or from $242.50 to $262.50 per hour. Principal Director of Make Your Mark Consultants, Dr. Jacqueline Coke-Lloyd, says it is time for Jamaica to consider seriously importing labor to address the worsening shortage. Earlier this week, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark said the labor shortage in the country is now too troublesome to ignore. He told Parliament that the serious labor crunch is one of the problems that came from the country's return to pre-pandemic employment levels. Dr. Coke-Lloyd says there should also be exploration of retaining some retirees. In the meantime, President of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Robin Russell, says the sector is still struggling to fill skilled posts, especially due to aggressive recruitment from overseas. Additionally, President of the Jamaica Employees Federation, David Wan, says there is a large pool of untapped labor in the country that needs to be brought into the workforce. And President of the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica, Lenworth Kelly, says there is a need to better train and develop skills in practical areas like construction. He says the country has not seen this much economic activity and growth for some time. In business news, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) Executive Board approved Jamaica's request for funding under two of its facilities on Thursday. It has approved about $968 million under precautionary and liquidity line arrangement and about $764 million under the newly created Resilience and Sustainability Facility. The 24-month program will provide insurance against risks from higher commodity prices, a global slowdown, tighter than envisaged global financial conditions, new COVID outbreaks, and in strengthening physical and fiscal resilience to climate change. Following the Executive Board's discussion, the Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair of the Board stated that Jamaica's strong track record of building institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability has aided the post-pandemic recovery. He added that the economy continues its strong recovery from COVID and inflation is expected to converge to the BOJ target range by the end of this year. He noted that international reserves remain at adequate levels and the financial sector remains well capitalized and liquid. In the region, Barbados now has the capacity to detect and receive early notice of an impending tsunami event to assist with the timely evacuation and coastal areas under threat. Deputy Director of the Barbados Meteorological Services, Brian Murray, says water level sensors, which sense pronounced changes in the level of the ocean, have been placed at strategic locations across the island. Mr. Murray says the country is also in the process of refining its multi-hazard early warning systems to allow for earlier warning in the event of a hazard impact. On the international scene, disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdoch has been sentenced to life in prison on Friday for the murders of his wife and son. After deliberating for less than 3 hours on Thursday, a jury in the United States found Murdoch guilty of killing his wife Maggie and son Paul. The 54-year-old was convicted on 4 counts, 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possession of a weapon in the commission of a violent crime. Prosecutors asked for life in prison without the possibility of parole, sparing Murdoch the death penalty. When given the opportunity to speak by the judge at his sentencing, Murdoch repeatedly said he was innocent. This is dubbed another chapter in the downfall of the disgraced attorney whose dynastic family had significant legal reach for decades in parts of South Carolina's Low Country. And in sports news, Jamaica remains fourth in the world as the top 6 teams remain the same in the world rankings released by World Netball on Thursday. Australia continue to lead the table, followed by New Zealand in second and England in third, Jamaica in fourth, with South Africa fifth and Malawi in sixth. The first change in ranking position can be seen at 7th as Tonga has moved up 1 spot, replacing Uganda, who moved down 1 place to 8th. This is the only positional change in the top 16. Dominica, Argentina, Canada, Maldives, Thailand, Israel, Chinese Taipei, and India have lost their ranking due to not reaching the maximum number of matches required to have a ranking. And that's it for your news roundup for today and for this week. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, and share the video with your family and your friends. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a great weekend and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here. Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!